Today, I'm joined by our great Truckstop partner, Roanoke Insurance, and I'm joined in particular by Amanda and April of Roanoke, who are here to talk to us today about fraud. So, Amanda and April, I'm going to hand it off to you guys if you'd like to get started.
Thank you very much, Jennifer, for having us today here to talk to you about fraud in the supply chain. So fraud is a top concern for Truckstop members, and this is why we've partnered with Truckstop to bring your members insurance solutions to help mitigate and protect them from criminals targeting the supply chain. Fraud in the supply chain can appear in many forms, but the ultimate result is always the same: conning companies and people out of their cargo and or causing direct financial loss. Cargo crime is not decreasing. In fact, it's increasing. I know it's surprising, right? Despite the reduced demand for goods and the alleviated port congestion, we're seeing an increase in cargo. Instead of the normalizing the supply chain, it's actually leading to shifts into which the types of goods that are targeted, how they're stolen, and how criminal organizations are infiltrating the supply chain and stealing cargo. These have adopted new methods and tactics to adjust to the evolving technology, economic, and social environments that we're currently in today. With inflation impacting costs of living and loss of purchasing power for basic goods and product shortages that we're all seeing and experiencing, we're likely going to continue to see large numbers of thefts of food and beverage products, which was recorded as the top stolen commodity in 2022, followed by electronics, automotive parts, agricultural goods. And actually, the United States is ranked in the top 5 countries for volume of cargo thefts. April, who's with us here today, works very closely with our Truckstop member clients and is going to tell us from her experience what examples she can share with us with regards to fraud in the supply chain. April?
Thank you, Amanda. Today's cargo thieves use sophisticated tactics and methods to execute costly crimes. First, they use stolen identities from legitimate truckers to commit the theft. Then they employ elaborate double brokering schemes to deceive and stop efforts by law enforcement to catch them. We have a client who experienced a fraudulent pickup using a load board. To pull this off, the fraudster used the online load board to win a bid they were not qualified to secure. The fraudster ended up securing the bid and stole the entire cargo. Another example that we have seen with clients concerning fraud is when an imposter poses as a forwarder using a freight exchange site and provides false instructions to a driver. The fraudster acts as the middleman between two legitimate companies, arranging the collection and directing the driver. When the trucker collects the goods, the fraudster will provide new instructions to make the delivery at an alternate address where the cargo is stolen. A modest investment of time and money and proactive measures to reduce these risks can save you thousands and even more. Here are some mitigation tips that we have found to help counter fictitious pickups. Number 1, avoid the Friday afternoon rush. Thieves know that on this day, the focus is on meeting shipping deadlines and not as much on security. Shippers, warehouses, and freight forwarders must employ solid vetting processes and implement stringent procedures for their employees. Vet all your carriers are brokers and collect verifiable identification. Number 2, to verify legitimacy, call the trucking company while the trucker is still at the loading point. Number 3, use data analytics and machine learning to detect fraudulent activities and perform regular security audits. Number 4, consider adding GPS tracking devices on all loads, 2-factor authentication, and train your employees to recognize and report suspicious activities. Number 5, conduct periodic security reviews and process audits. Follow these best practices to identify any gaps in your security. And number 6, collaborate with law enforcement, your industry associations, and stakeholders for information sharing, your best practices, and increased transparency. To protect your business from fraudulent pickups, it's important to secure shipper's interest insurance to cover the loss of the shipment and E&O insurance to cover the defense of a loss. The shipper's interest is primary response insurance to cover the loss of the shipment and not to be confused with contingent cargo insurance. When it comes to insurance, each insurance provider offers different coverages. It is important to always check your policy to make sure you have the correct coverages in place. In some cases, we have seen cyber insurance respond to a claim. Amanda, you have experienced fraud as a result of a cyber attack on one of your clients. Can you share?
Yes, actually, the example I have to share that comes to mind is really unnerving how good the scam was executed. So a client of ours, a freight broker, had their vendor invoices intercepted and ended up paying thousands of dollars into a bad actor's bank account. The hackers had actually infiltrated the email server about 5 months ago and had set order forward for all emails with the words invoice or payment in them. Then the bad actor took over the email thread and continued the conversation for payment. It was unnerving how the bad actor had actually mimicked the original sender's way of writing. Email signature masked the fake email address with the original sender's email. After a few exchanges, they provided updated bank information for the outstanding invoice. Few months passed by, and the vendor calls the freight broker requesting payment because now their invoice is obviously overdue by 90 days. Needless to say, the hack came to light and immediate action was required to secure the freight broker's account and network. It was very seamless and a believable exchange that led to the funds being misdirected. Thankfully, this freight broker did have cyber insurance and was able to recoup most of the money they had lost to the cyber criminals. In today's world, cyber insurance is actually not a sufficient solution to protecting your business from cyber criminals. The thing with cyber insurance is when you actually have to call on the insurance, it means you've already had a hack. So what you want to do is work on having a cyber risk management program in place. Cyber-related attacks are more pervasive and more damaging than ever before. According to a recent recent Forbes magazine article, U.S. businesses are reporting a 50% increase in cyber attacks every week. That's not every month, that's not every year, not every quarter, every week a 50% increase in attacks. And sadly, the forwarding industry is highly targeted because of the nature of our business, specifically freight brokers. We utilize high volume, transaction-based business models with time-critical services. So any downtime due to a cyber attack would be fatal to the business. Thus, freight brokers are more likely to pay the cyber ransoms to restore their operations as quickly as possible, which means for cyber criminals, they are a perfect target because they know there's a higher probability they'll pay that ransom. It's imperative to have that solid cyber risk management plan that goes beyond just obtaining cyber insurance. Most insurance companies offer a cyber risk management suite that actually packages together the insurance with risk prevention and mitigation tools. But a good cyber risk management plan should have regular cyber training for all employees at every level. 2, regular cyber intrusion testing of one's network to ensure it has not been breached. As we could see in the example I gave earlier, the cyber criminals had breached the system and were just sitting around waiting for the opportune moment to actually conduct the hack. So if you're consistently testing the network, then you can catch those breaches and actually avoid the attack from actually coming to fruition. Regular phishing testing of employees. That's imperative to train employees to understand how to identify those masked and covered up emails that are trying to act or con someone into believing they're someone else. Segmenting networks so it makes it more difficult that if a ransom attack happens, the spread between system to system to system is lessened and takes less time, doesn't take as much time or as quickly to take over the entire system. Make sure secure sockets layering, that's the SSL encryption, is used to encrypt sensitive information. Run regular cyber risk assessments regularly to ensure there's no new activity detected on the dark web or new ports are vulnerable. Enable multi-factor authentication. 8, make certain that all computers, internet devices, phones, and tablets are equipped with continually updated antivirus software, firewalls, email filters, and anti-spyware. And finally, and the most important, it's instituting a rigorous backup regime, keeping multiple copies of critical business data locally, off-site, and in the cloud. routine frequent backups remain the most foolproof defense against ransomware. At the end of the day, when in doubt or you have questions about your coverage, you should call your insurance broker. That is what we're here for. We're here to help. We're here to consult, to help you on your risk exposures and provide insurance options and mitigation solutions. Thank you, Jennifer. We'll hand it back to you.
Thank you, Amanda and April. That was really, really great information. Thank you so much for sharing. I loved the 6 points to work for, and certainly the cybersecurity. That was great information. We really enjoyed that. Pleased to say that Truckstop is pretty much on top of those things ourselves. They are critical, and so we know the importance of them and hope that all of our customers do as well.